Sorry.
In 4 weeks from tonight will be 4 weeks from tonight will be the second night of Hanukkah. So I'm not going to tell you to start shopping already. But even though it's as I'll say that Shloshim Yom Lefnei Chag, 30 days before a Yom Tov, before a holiday, so it's already, the sun is rising and all the lights of Hanukkah, no pun intended, are starting to rise. So we're not out of season. We start talking about Hanukkah tonight. Hanukkah is this sounds so cliche because you can say it about anything. Hanukkah is like something that's really so special, but from all the Yom Tovim, we know it's very well known that Chazal tell us that all the Chagim, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot in the future will be mitbatel. They'll be sort of not passé, but they'll sort of fade, right? They'll be there, but they won't be as prominent as they are today. Purim is not going to be mitbatel, right? Purim is going to stand out and be even stronger after Mashiach comes in now. So I once asked one of my teachers, Reb Tzvi Cheshen, I said, what about Hanukkah? He said, Hanukkah is even greater. Hanukkah is the whole backdrop, right, of the future. And as the way the Rebbe Nachman puts it, is that Hanukkah and the La'asad Lava, the future world, are really the same sort of thing, right? Maybe we'll touch upon it a little bit tonight, but it needs to be noticed and needs to be thought about, over time. But Rebbe Nachman very much makes a connection in two different lessons that he gave years apart, relating Hanukkah to halacha, to learning and studying Shulchan Aruch, or whatever one's capable of studying, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, Shulchan Aruch, Chai Odom, or any sort of halachic work, and Hanukkah. And of course, living by Shulchan Aruch. I mean, that's the sort of the point, which in itself needs a whole other Melave Malka. But Rebbe Nachman makes this connection. So part of the connection between the Hanukkah and halacha, we'll talk about. Hanukkah, that most people immediately think of when they think of Hanukkah, is lighting the nerot, the candles, the shemen zayis, the olive oil, whatever it is that you light. Right? That's usually the first thing that comes to people's mind when you mention Hanukkah. What is probably even, I can't say more important, what is critical to Hanukkah is the Ala Nisim and the Hallel of Hanukkah. Right? The Ala Nisim, which we say both in Birkat HaMazon and in Shmona Esrei, specifically in the bracha of thanks, Navdelecha, Birkat HaMazon, and Modim in Shmona Esrei, because Hanukkah is all about thanking, right? And Hallel, right? And not just the partial Hallel, as we say on Rosh Chodesh, a couple days hence, right? But the whole Hallel, every day, for 8 days. Right? And very much, and this is the element of Hanukkah that Rebbe Nachman connects directly to the future. The future in which we will recognize HaKadosh Baruch Hu more and more clearly starts now, and starts by your thanking Hashem. by your realizing that every point of your life is something that needs to be thanked, for which Hashem needs to be thanked. You can take any part of life, and you could probably, if you really sit and work at it a little bit, we'd realize that you could spend 8 full days thanking Hashem just for that itself, that particular part of your life. If you take the human body, you can thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu from head to toe, right? And especially if you're a doctor, they say it's probably not enough, right? Because you know even better what goes on, right? But we have to understand first of all why it is so difficult to thank Hashem for things that are painful, right? And we have to understand why it is that it's sometimes hard to thank Hashem even for the things that we recognize immediately as good, and what stops us from expressing our thanks. Rabbi Nachman tells us that, and it's something again I mentioned it the other night, and it's something that we really, really need to review. Right? We all know that Rabbi Nachman said it's a mitzvah gedola lios b'simcha tamid. It's a great mitzvah to always, or to constantly be b'simcha. Right? But we pointed out that the Rebbe stressed the fact that a person has to work at being cheerful and upbeat because this world is a miserable place. Right? We mentioned this the other night. Right? That this world is simply full of pain. All sorts of pain, emotional, physical. There's private pain that people have. There's interpersonal pain that people have in relationships that they do have, in relationships that they don't have, in relationships they would like to have. There's interpersonal pain between the Jewish people, between one part and another part. There's pain all over. Right? And there's physical suffering, financial suffering. So this world, Reb Nachman says, is hell. Right? Now, as we said, literally said, this world is hell. Right? And that's why he said, since this world is hell, we really have to make an effort to be cheerful and upbeat. Because even in this, you know, I don't call it a torture chamber, that's maybe overdoing it, right? But, it's, we have fantastic opportunities to grab, things that are eternal. We have the opportunities to be kind to one another, to share with one another, and vis-a-vis our relationship with Hashem, to thank Hashem and to recognize Hashem and make ourselves individually more aware of His presence and make the world at large, more and more aware of His presence. And that latter goal of making the world at large more aware of Hashem's presence is not something only for the Bavitcher Rebbes and Breslover Rebbes or other types of big tzaddikim like that, but it's for every single person in this room and for every Jew everywhere. And that's what we're capable of, and that's something we can do. But where does it start? How does a person get started in this, right? If a person is beaten down, if you're feeling in pain, right? It's usually people who, an extreme example, is people who are depressed don't speak at all or speak very little. To get even a word or two out of them is pulling teeth. Right? When a person is in pain, they speak less. How do we overcome our pain so that we speak where we're supposed to speak on Hanukkah? Lahoidos ulahala, to thank and to praise Hashem for our lives. Reb Nosson in Likutei Halachos is a little more explicit. He elaborates on what the Rebbe wants us to know, what Rabbi Nachman wants us to know.